Hello everyone, we're going to be setting up a new Premiere project today. What we're going to do is actually take the videos that you guys recorded as your practice shots and do a editing exercise with it. So you need to go to Adobe Premiere Pro. Now on your guys' computers there's two different Adobes. There's Adobe CS4 and Adobe CS6. Make sure that you open Adobe CS6. Then you'll get a screen that looks similar to this. You want to change the browse here and go to your home file, your home directory. So your, for example, drew.witherall drive. All right, so that everything's being saved there. And then the name, we're just going to title this Practice Moves, like so. And you hit OK. Then it's going to come up and it's going to ask you for the sequence name here in just a second, along with some formatting information. What I typically do is go to this AVCHD format, 1080p, and then the frame rate of 30, and give it the sequence name, sequence practice moves, and hit OK. And now in CS6 what will happen is if this format is not exactly right, when you go to import videos, it'll end up telling you, do you want to change it to the change the sequence settings? And you would say yes, just in case. The software does a pretty good job of figuring out what format that your videos are in and putting everything in the right order. So we're going to go ahead and hit OK. And when Adobe Premiere comes up, it's going to look like this. So we're going to go to File and Import, and we're going to pull up some files to edit here. For you guys, you would pull up your practice shots that you did earlier. I just have some random clips here, so I'm going to use these. So if I hit Control A, it highlights all of those files. And then if I hit Open, it starts to import them into here. Some of you might have this pane show up down here at the bottom. You might actually have thumbnails of the individual files, but in the end we're all going to do the same thing here. We're going to click on the files, all of them. If you click on the top one and scroll down to the bottom one and click and hold shift and click on the last one, it'll highlight them all, and then drag them into video 1, and you can see that my files have been put into here. Okay. This is the point where on CS6 it would probably ask you, do you want to change the sequence settings? And yes, you would. You want your sequence to match the video clips you're bringing in. Now I'm going to have some editing things for you guys to do here. Specifically, what we're going to do is we're going to add a video transition to each one of these clips. We're also going to add a video effect and a title. So I'll show you how to do each one of those. Let's start with video transitions first. Okay. So step 1, I zoomed in here. For you guys on CS6, you would just drag this slider, and if you need help with that, let me know. But what we're going to do here is we're going to go over to video effects and video transitions. Let's start with transitions. So if I click the little button here next to video transitions, there's all different types of transitions. What I want you to do is use a different transition between each of your video clips. So I'm going to start with dissolve and do a cross dissolve. Alright, now you just click and drag between the two clips. Okay, sometimes you get that little warning message. And when I hit play here, you'll notice up in the preview screen that it cross dissolved there. So the other thing we can do with our transitions, if I open this up a little more, I can click on the edge of my transition and I can make this a really long transition, like so. See this real slow fade into the next shot. Okay. Or just by clicking and dragging and bringing it closer to the end of that shot, I can make this a really fast transition. Okay. Where it hardly seems like there is any transition at all. Now that's just one of many transitions in here. So for each different clip, I want you to add a different transition. Try and make the transitions different lengths and play around with that. My strategy here is to see how bad you can break things, so that we know how everything works and how to use it. So if we get out of video transitions here, and let's actually go to video effects. Alright, and I'll just pick distort here. Alright, video effects work the same way. I can click on the effect, drag it over the top of the clip that I want to add the effect to, and let go. And then you'll notice when I go to play this, okay, we'll end up getting this weird bend out of the video. Hope it's pausing here for a second. Okay, let's try this again. Okay, up here towards the top you'll have an effects control. This is what gives you all sorts of different options in changing what happens inside of that effect. So even if we go to, let's try mirror, okay, and we hit play, you can see there it's doing the effects. My computer's having a little trouble processing it right now, but you get the idea. You can see that there's some different effects that are happening there. So put an effect for each one, and then the last thing is a title for each. For you guys, I'd like you to just put the name of the shot. Okay, so you had a bunch of different shots that you use, so just put a name to it. And how the titles work, if I go here to title and go to new title and click on default still and just give it a name such as long shot and hit OK, it'll give you a little preview screen on where this where the text is going. So if you just highlight the area that you want to add text to, such as that, and I just type long shot, alright, this is what will appear on the screen when I add this to the timeline. They got a bunch of different types of fonts down here to choose from. I'll go with that one. You can center it. Alright, and the one other thing that I like to do on the right hand side here, if you scroll down, there's what's called an outer stroke. If we click on outer stroke, we're going to add an outer stroke. The color is black here, and if we add more to that outer stroke, you can see that the outside of it starts to get blacker and blacker there. Alright, I went really extreme with that there. But a lot of times when it's just plain white, it might be hard to see. So if we add a little bit of black around the outside, it kind of stands out. And it doesn't have to be black either. If you're shooting something with a red background, I've found that it's nice if you actually use red. And it kind of separates the white text that's inside of it. But for now, we're just going to go ahead and use black. Alright, and so that's pretty much ready to go here. And so if I exit out of here, alright, and I look where all my media clips were, it's in that same pane, you can see that it's added this title slide, long shot, and I can click and drag it here into video 2. Now the way this works is it works in layers. So video 1 is here. If you're going to put a title on top of it, it has to be in video 2. And if you're going to put a title on top of a title, for example, you'd have to put something in video 3, basically working in layers. If I were to take this video clip and put it up in video 3, and I tried to play this title, okay, nothing would come up. You don't see anything there, and that's because video 3 is layered over the top of video 2. But if I move it back down and I hit play, this time you should see the text come up on the screen there. Alright, so with each of these texts, there's one thing that I would like you to do with that as well. Once you have text on each one of these, you can decide how long you want the text to run. And the other thing that you can do is over here in video transitions, you can add an effect, or a transition, excuse me, to each end of the title. So when you hit play, it will cross dissolve in, continue play, and then it will cross dissolve out. And you can decide, if you zoom in, oops, too far, how long this cross dissolve lasts. So it could be a long fade in, or it could be a real short dissolve in. So that's what I'd like you to do with your practice shots and your editing. Haven't even gotten to the audio side of things yet, but for video, this is a good start on how to get titles in there, and how to get your transitions and some of your effects. So play around, have fun with it, and see what you can do.